Oh, excuse me. Man, I get a tickle in my throat right when we go live. Welcome, everybody. I see we had 29 folks over there waiting in the chat. I appreciate y'all hanging around. Javi and I were for crying out loud. I'm glad I brought this water. Yeah, Javi and I were just talking about some stuff right before we went live here. So I don't have, obviously I don't have a guest. I mean, Javi's here, but he's going to help me watch the chat.
Good evening, all.
I'm going to have him on again later to discuss a couple of different things. He'll probably be on 3 or 4 times or more than that probably. But at any rate, he's here to help me watch the chat. And I didn't schedule a guest tonight kind of on purpose because I was hoping that I was going to get to go to the woodworking show in Indianapolis. Some of you may know I grew up just outside of Indianapolis, so that's kind of my old stomping grounds. And I've always wanted to go to that show. But I wish they had it later in the spring. But anyway, you know, the stars didn't line up right, so I wasn't able to go. But I was kind of keeping this date open in case I could go at the last minute. So anywho, we're here and we're just going to kind of wing it. We'll do a kind of a question and answer session. I think I may try to do this anyway, maybe one Saturday of the month, maybe the first Saturday of every month or something like that. You know, depending on what kind of conversations I see going on in the chat in Facebook and the Facebook groups and over in the forum. But anyway, Javi, you want to go? I know everybody knows who you are, but go ahead and introduce yourself anyway before I keep rambling on here.
Good evening, one and all. My name is Javi from Javi's Woodshop, and a loyal Gatton CNC follower. And I enjoy working with CNCs. I have my weekly, well, it was my weekly Twitch show. Now it's going to be my weekly YouTube show because a lot of people find it difficult to get on Twitch. And, well, I listen and I follow what
works much better when you do it on YouTube.
Yeah. So I'll do that. And from time to time in the future, I want to see if I have some panel members while I'm on the show to basically have small conversations, because that really helps when you're fixed and concentrated on what you're doing on the screen. If not, there's absolutely just a lot of dead air.
You know, for a while when I was doing those Wednesday live streams, I mentioned that I was getting set up to do a Twitch thing because that seemed to be the next hot thing at the moment. But then, you can't have a guest. You can't, like you said, it's just you by yourself unless you got somebody on the phone in your ear or something. And I just decided I'll stick with YouTube for now until they kick me off. So,
Jeff and others are enjoying the sticker board behind you.
Okay, yeah, we got Jeff Connor, Herb Lichtenberg, Rob Schuster, Jim Bashir. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Sorry for your loss. I think you lost a brother-in-law here recently. Yeah, I finally put some stickers up. Last week I was telling everybody, because I had just a blank wall, last week. So I was telling anybody, if you want your sticker in a, predominantly placed on the board back there, send me a sticker. And I haven't got any. So all the ones I put up there are ones that I've had. Most of them I've had for probably a couple of years. You see that one right there? I think that's Steve Carmichael's. I know I've had that thing since the 2016 wood show. Same with Matt Cremona right there. There's Nick Ferry. I don't know, a lot of these guys. I've had their stickers for quite some time and just never have put them out. So my plan is to keep them kind of high like that. I may even go one row higher and keep them high enough so that the CNC doesn't block them. So you can see I got lots of good real estate still left. So if you want to show off your sticker and all that, send me one. You can find my address if you go to Facebook, my Facebook page, and hit the about thing or whatever. I don't keep any of that stuff hid. My address and all is right there. If anybody wants it, or if you want, you can PM me or something, and I'll be happy to send it to you. But yeah, I got the little sticker board going. What else we got going on out there? Anything? Anybody got any questions? I just see everybody kind of saying hi and stuff. Matt Peel in the house. Carlo, how you doing, Carlo? Greetings from Kansas. Yeah, I saw that picture on Facebook with you and Alan Kreifels. It's good that you was able to meet up with somebody out there. So yeah, I see that link. Is that showing my address there, Javi, or is that?
That is your Facebook page, yes,
okay,
Dave.
Okay, yeah, yeah. You can send it, and I'll be happy to put it up there. But it's first come, first served, So you see the way I'm going with this. You don't want to get stuck. Once that side fills up, you don't want to be stuck down low because the CNC and stuff blocks it. So. Anyhow, all right. Well, I guess we're just going to kind of talk CNC here a little bit. Javi, you got anything you want to talk about, or I mean, I don't want you to blow any surprises.
Nothing really. I guess I could give, if you like, I give a little update on my. Well, I can't call it my build because the actual build was done. It's functional, but functional. just because it works doesn't mean it's practically functional. The last minute things, which I'm in the middle of a couple of business acquisitions and stuff. Just life gets very complicated, at the worst possible times. And the 3 last minute things that I was going to do on my machine, one of them is very important: the spoil board. You don't want to be ruining the table. Another, and the most important for me, as folks, I was on a chat the other night with Mike Mertzke and Dave, and they were watching me as I was jogging around the Colossus, and I didn't have any cable management. So I had the cables all coiled up, and I was trying to watch every single cable, but 4 motors, 4 reels of cable everywhere. And well, let's just say as I was tilting the table, one of the cables was stretched so much that it came out of the little plug. Luckily, it wasn't a big thing, but it was the X. I'm sorry, it was the Y motor, and the Y and the A run together, so only the A ran, and I'm going, oh my God, it's all twisted. So cable management, big deal for the build.
Yeah, I've if I can step out of the way here, you can see. I've got this pretty much done. It's not quite ready to run. You can see right here, I just have a couple of pieces of 3/4 MDF. They're just sitting on here. I kind of hem-hawed around trying to decide how I wanted to do the top. Did I want to put all those T-nuts in like I do on most of my builds, or did I want to do like the old Sidewinder and use the T-track? And I decided to use the T-track. I've got a bunch of it ordered, and it's not going to be here till Monday, so I can't do much else with that. But I did go ahead and buy my MDF, and when the T-track gets here, I'll get this cut up into strips. I got my plywood table part. It's mounted on here good. But a couple other things I'm going to do. I've got my, I guess, yeah, you can see that. I've got my drag chain running both places. And I've run my wire through, and for the limit homing switches, I've got the Z1 Z-axis wired up, and that's what I was out here doing today. And then it started getting close to 7. I thought, well, I got to start getting ready for the show. So I stopped working on the other ones. But it doesn't look too bad if you just look at this part. But if you can see what's all over there, kind of in this corner, and you can't even really see my control box. I've just got it hanging up on the wall and stuff. So I've got wires kind of for right now going every which way.
Dave, Jerry was asking if you're looking at all into a vacuum hold down for your setup.
Nah, I don't think that's, for what kind of stuff I run, I don't think I'll need anything like that. I'm old school. I like using clamps and making fixtures and stuff like that. So I'm gonna stick with that.
And Corey would like to know if you do the dado on your T-track with a single pass or with multiple pass bit. What's your method, basically?
Well, I won't be putting a dado for the T-track. Let me push this back. This is my 3/4 MDF, and this is some 3/4 plywood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, once I get my T-track, I'm going to lay it all out and figure out where I want it. And this time I'm going to put a lot more T-track than I had with that old side one. But that was one issue I had with that. I only put 4 and they were kind of spaced out.
Yeah.
So there were times when you get to a spot and you could reach it over here, but you couldn't reach it here. So I'm going to have it the T-track probably every 4 or 5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to cut the strips and lay them right beside the T-track. But the T-track will screw into the plywood.
Right.
So I won't be needing to make any dados or anything. It's just getting the first one lined up straight, cutting my whatever this is going to be, 4 or 5 inches, whatever, setting it against that T-track, and then do another one. And the T-track is on, I don't have a little piece of it out here. No, I don't have one, but it's only about 3/8 tall. So even when I put it here and then have the MDF, you're going to have 3/8 sticking up. So,
yeah, Dave, have you ever considered for the T-track rather than cut strips and put the T-track inside, when you cut a strip, rabbet say 1/4 inch. So when you have the T-track,
that's something, now that you mentioned that's something I might do, because since I'm going to have to get all the crap off my table saw anyway to cut this, I might as well use my table saw to put just a slight
rabbet, and then the non-hole part of the T-track can slide underneath.
Exactly.
That's what I did with mine, and what I plan to do with the new one. That way, when you're tightening, the T-track is actually pushing up against the spoil board itself, not prying out the screws, because that's the reason I started doing that. I'm a gorilla when it comes to tightening these things, and I rip all the screws out of that board underneath.
Yeah, that's a great point. And like I said, since I have to uncover my table saw, it's not too bad this time. I got a little bit of stuff sitting on. If it's a flat surface, there's something sitting on my router table, all that stuff, got something sitting on it. But when I get ready to cut the strips, it's just another setup, and I can, run a couple of passes,
Corey would like to know if you're gluing the MDF down or countersinking screws.
I'll probably glue it down.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I've got.
I just don't like the idea of having a screw.
No, yeah.
Sticking, where you might go a little too far. Not that I've ever done that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, we've all been there if we've run a machine at all. Let's see. There have been a couple other questions. A couple were directed at me, as far as they were asking me about my my drag chain behind me in the cabinet. I guess I'll go show them. For those of you who haven't seen, from one of my shows, I cut this out of. It's one of those things that you're so far into it that now I'm committed. I have to do it. But if I had to do over again, I would cut this out of wood, not out of plastic. Half the pieces they're or MDF possibly instead of the plastic. But I had the PVC. Half the time, if I take these apart, these little parts crack, they break. So they're very, very sensitive, or the glue from the pieces separates and I have to reglue them. I'm sure once it's all in place, it'll be a little more forgiving, but a bit of waste comes with doing it the way I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just bought some. And it was about
it's worth the investment to buy the stuff.
I had 2 meter lengths or 39 inches already, and then I bought 2 more, and I've got probably 2 feet left over. Yep. I was seeing somebody ask about the cutting area on here. Drew Oxford says 43 by 48. It's actually 45 if you really push the envelope. Yep. You know, if you're dead set where you can get to, if I can point to it, that edge right there without hitting, leave yourself about an 1/8 inch from that upright and about an 1/8 inch or so from that upright, and you can get about 45. And the 48 is if you hang over about 1.5 inches or so.
It's a solid machine, and and that orange really stands out. I know I have nothing bad to say. Being Team Blue, I have nothing bad to say about Team Orange. It's a solid machine.
Jerry Brown over there is asking about the drag chain. This is what I use, Jerry. It's 15 by 30 millimeter, and it's not too small. You know, you can get it in 10 millimeter by 20, I think, or something. But this has got, well, for example, this one right here, I've got 4 wires running through it. 2 of them are, it's coming up here to the X motor, and it's also got another stepper motor wire that comes up here and then runs along the back to go to the Z axis. And then I've got 2 more wires for the, man, it gets dark when I block that light. 2 more wires going for the homing switches. One comes up here, and I haven't even attached it yet. It's still loose. I just got it stuck right here. It's already run through. So it'll go to a limit switch right here, and then I have another one that comes up here and then all the way up this way to my Z axis, and I've got that one running.
What size?
Yeah,
what size was
the room? Because you notice I still got this thing just kind of laying around, and this is the router I had on my old Sidewinder, and it's really the one I want to use out here for a little while. It's one reason the switch broke on it in the on position, so it's really not much good for anything else except setting on a CNC router. So I'm going to try to use that, but I think what I'm going to do is go to Ace Hardware or somewhere, or Lowe's or Home Depot or somewhere, and buy me probably a 25-foot extension cord or whatever, and then run it through there, and then I'll either cut this off or I may just wad it up and hang it off.
Yeah, don't cut it off. Yeah, it's better if you just connect it. If it's in the drag chain, it's not gonna be a problem. And if you change the router in the future, then yeah, you don't have to worry about rewiring.
Well, this won't be in the drag chain. That's what I'm saying. I was just going to run the extension cord. And the bad thing about when you do that, unless you cut it off and then rewire it,
right?
You got plugs on both ends, so you have to pop all those little things off. So that's kind of a pain in the butt too. But I seriously doubt I could fish it through there now anyway with the other wires in there.
What size drag chain is it, Dave?
It's the 15 by 30. 15
by 30 millimeter. Got it.
There's plenty of room for the wire, but it's, like I said, with 4 of them already in there, it's going to be hanging up every time I go to push it. So I'll probably pop the little, I guess I should show that in case there's somebody new on here. Let me go ahead and pull this out of here. This drag chain is, well, if I quit dropping stuff, this drag chain all the way down it. These little black covers here, if I can get one off, they just pop off.
Yeah,
so you can remove everything, and it's just kind of an open tray, and lay your wire in there, and then pop those things. If I can get it back on there, there it goes. Pop them back on, and it does make it kind of easy. It's just when you're doing a machine this big or a table this big, it's just there's a lot of them.
Yeah, for those of you on the not on the metric system, 15 by 30 is 0.6 inches by about 1 1/4 inches.
Yeah, yeah. This, if you want to see my fancy, you can't hardly see it right where my hand is, but this is just I took a 2x4, which is 1.5 inches wide, and I cut the radius off the corners, and then I just cut me a strip about half inch thick, and that's all I'm using. There's no fancy tray. It just sets on that piece of wood, and I got the same thing going across the back. I didn't see any need to reinvent the wheel, so I just kind of did it pretty much like I did the one on the 36 by 24, which if you watch one of my shows, you probably see me right now.
Ron says you've come a long way. Drag chains and limit switches.
Ron Cleve. Yeah, I still don't have a 3D printer though, Ron. I still got that one that you told me about months ago when we were doing that other show. It's still in my wish list on Amazon. I keep putting it off, and the price keeps coming down, so I guess I'll just keep waiting.
Kevin is saying he uses a Schedule 40, saw down the slot down the length, and stick it in the oven, clamp it flat, and let it cool. I guess, yeah.
Or what is he talking about?
I'm for as a drag chain, I believe. Hang on, let me see. Saw a slot down the length and put it in the oven, clamp flat, and let it cool. I mean, that's good for wire management, but what about for the curves? I'm kind of curious how he does that.
I mean, I just didn't see any need to go to a whole lot of trouble. Like I said, you can get a 39-inch piece of this for $15 off Amazon. Well, if you got Amazon Prime, no shipping or nothing.
Yeah, if I had to do over again, I mean, I have to buy 20 feet of that stuff for Colossus, but yeah, if I had to do all over again, I'd definitely go that route. I'm still thinking of going that route, but I'm into this already.
Yeah, well, that's some big old drag chain you're making.
Well, here's the thing. What I'm running it. I mean, it's an inch by 2.5 inches, but I'm running both in and out tubes for a spindle. I'm running the power cable for the power cable for the spindle. I guess that's pretty much all about it. Oh no, at one point on the side one, I have to run the 1, 2, I believe 3, or is it just 2 motors, motor cables? Oh yeah,
I just use 2.
Yeah,
some people put one where it comes up and over for the Z. With this, and the same way with my Gatton, there's not that much travel. It's not that big a deal as long as you got the wire kind of attached a couple of different places where it's got some glue. I don't see a need to put it in a drag chain, but a lot of people do.
If anybody's building a Gatton or any other type and needs to know how much drag chain to buy, it's usually whatever length it's running. Probably about 55 to 60% of that length is what I'm sorry, the full length plus 10%. My bad. So let's say it's 7 feet. You're going to need possibly 7.5, 8 feet of drag chain, because you'll attach it in the middle and then it'll go in both directions.
Well, make sure that's if they attach it in the middle.
That's if, yeah, that's true.
I have mine like this drag chain right here. If I can get back in here in the dark again, I have it attached all the way to the back.
Right.
with
So
all
you
my
need 1.5
pliers.
times as much.
Because
Yes.
even if I had them come out here in the middle, I'd still have to have something to get them tucked, neatly around here. So I just ran the drag chain here. Same way with the one going here. It starts right here. So when it comes up out of here, it's just a little short loop from this drag chain into the next one to go that way. So in my case, I'm going to use maybe, I don't know, maybe a foot or less more than what this length is.
Yeah.
So, but that's just the way I prefer to do it. And like I said, drag chain's cheap.
No, I'm in lockstep with you. I prefer the drag chain the whole way. The way this one originally came, for those of you, if you can see, it's got the you'll see the drag chain attached to the gantry, and it goes just up to the halfway point. And then I've got this round cable with wire ties for the rest of the way. And, and it's neat. They're bundled together, but it doesn't look pretty.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have the drag chain the whole way.
Yeah. Like I said, it's cheap, $15 for almost 40 inches. So.
And if you do what I do, buy a lot of extra chain, and then you're gonna have it sitting around. And you go, I got all this extra chain. What can I do? And build another Gatton CNC. See?
There you go.
And then you have to buy more drag chain, and then you have excess drag. It's a vicious cycle, but it's a good one.
Yeah. Todd H CNC says you have to allow for the radii of the chain, which is true. This, it's not that tall right there.
Right.
And it's even shorter back here. But
yep.
I basically took two lengths that I bought, which is, almost 80 inches, way too much. And then I put them together, and I, moved everything and kind of figured out where I wanted it to go. And then I knew where to take it apart. And like I said, this out of 4 of these, I take that back. I've got probably 3 feet there.
Yep. And so, Sean Martyr's out there, and I liked his innovative idea. He took a piece of square plastic tube, like from a fencing material, and he slit it. He basically cut it up into sections and drilled 2 little holes. So the one side of it, if you will, the flat part of the drag chain, he would tie wrap on the 2 ends, and the top would move. So that's how he built his drag chain, and it's pretty interesting.
Bobby, could you real quick scroll up a little bit in the chat?
Sure.
I know Eric from Gussie Banjos had a question, and we kept talking, and now I forgot what the question was, but I know he
used a Harbor variable speed motor that works great. Do you need one?
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah. No, I don't need one. I've actually got one. I've never used it.
And a variable speed controller. I'm sorry.
Then I guess I could use it with this, but I ran that old Sidewinder out here all these years and just ran it wide open.
Well, Gussie, if you like, send it to me, and I'll build a little controller box with an on-off switch for Dave, and when I go up to Atlanta, I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're offering.
It says, Dave, you should talk about mounting aluminum braces. I don't know. Are you talking about for the from a drag chain? That must be what he's talking about, because that's what I use for aluminum. Let me grab a little piece. I got a little piece right here. Like I said, I don't do anything fancy. I have a lot of drop of this is 3/4 by 3/4 aluminum angle, 1/8. And all I did, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's see if I can do this. It'd be easier to show you.
Corey's asking what the maximum Z height for GarageWorks is. Is it the same for the Gatton?
No, it's probably higher on the Gatton. From here to the bottom, you got about 5. Well, assuming you've got 2 layers here, it's 5 inches from here to the bottom of this. And of course, you're going to have a bit hanging out farther. There's not a lot of Z travel in the GarageWorks, and that's by design. You know, these things, although they're pretty stout, they're not made for, you know, they're not a big commercial machine. So the higher up you go with everything, the more leverage you have for stuff to go wrong. So I wanted to keep it fairly low for this, because most people just do plaques and signs and stuff like that anyway.
Yep.
So let me see. I don't know. I can't reach it. I'm probably going to have to go blank here for a minute with my camera. Javi, if you'll keep them entertained for a
Sure,
second.
absolutely. I was going to mention that Drew Oxford, if I'm not mistaken, he has on occasion engraved the bottom of his bowls. And unless I'm mistaken, he told me he was engraving 6-inch bowls. So it might
Well,
be.
if you like, I don't know how Drew does it, but you know, if you know that that's what you're going to be doing, then you could leave this, because there's big gaps. You know, there's a channel here and there's a channel here, so you got gaps. You could make yourself something that's easily removable, and then set it down and get a bunch more Z travel.
Yep.
That.
Yeah, Jerry Brown cut the notch to increase it a bit on his Gatton. But not that many uses, he says.
I am going to try. I'll probably make y'all dizzy as hell. I'm probably going to go dark here for a sec.
No worries. Earlier they were asking about my my digital probe, if I've made one yet. I'm almost ready for the show. I have it's already designed. I came across a very unique design that I'll be happy to share with you guys on the show on Thursday. You can create out of some basic parts. I mean, you buy them from Lowe's and you can make some basic parts. And it's nothing more than it's 2 wires. The probe is a simple digital probe is 2 wires. And then I'll talk you through the software and point cloud and all that information, you know, if you like, and bring your questions.
Okay. Sean, this is the biggest GarageWorks. I call it the 48 by 48. Like we mentioned, the cutting area is really about 45 by 48. But it's the biggest one I make. Okay, now if you guys, I'm going to try to, I added a extension cord here to my camera. I'm probably going to get you all drunk here. But I will pull this over here, and I hope this is what y'all will want to see. Move this light out of the way. Bring this down. Okay, can y'all see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. This is nothing special. As you can see, this is a piece of that 3/4 by 1/8 inch angle. I have it butted up against this rail. And on this side, it sticks out obviously longer. I think this piece is about 7 1/4 inches long. And I think, let me see if I can move the camera right here. Yeah, I had to notch the angle right there. And then I just drilled, and you can see I've got some holes tapped. Well, I don't know if y'all can see. It's getting kind of dark.
Yeah, basically what you did was you put 2 extensions on the going horizontal on the uprights, and made sure that the other horizontal cross piece between them carrying the chain just clears the back Z plate.
Yeah, let me see.
There you go.
Let me see if I can get it. Okay, let me turn it just a little bit. Okay, now you can see. Like I said, this is really simple, folks. I'm all about simple. I just took this angle, made it where, and have another one that's exactly the opposite on the other end, the far end down there. And again, I just cut a piece of 2x4 that's 1.5 inches wide by about 1/2 inch thick. And it's screwed to here. And this is what I was talking about. You can see how my wires come out of, let's see if I can get pointing right here, come out of this drag chain and just kind of loop around real short. Of course, this one I haven't even attached yet. I've got it long until once I attach my limit switch over here, I'll pull some of it back through and it won't be sticking out like this. But it's just really simple stuff.
Yeah, that's how it is on most machines. There's some people use that plastic tube with that slit to for those things, and some people just use plain old zip ties or electrical tape.
Like I said, right now in the back of the machine, I've got kind of a mess, and I also have to keep the wires kind of extra long because this is so big I can't get over there, so I have to be able to pull this out and scoot around. So I got to make sure that I leave the wires long enough so that when I pull it out, I don't pull any of the wires out from the wall over there.
Right.
Before I turn this camera around, I'll see if I can hold this. This you can see. This is what I was working on, and please ignore the blue painter's tape because that's my temporary fix while I was testing this, and I haven't pulled it off. But I just have I'm using that same piece of angle that's on the top of the Z box there, and notice I'm utilizing some existing screws. So it goes out and catches the other end of that drag chain. Whoops, I'm not holding this right now. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Let me see. There we go. And then I just put a vertical angle, and then I took a little piece of like 060 aluminum and made a bracket, and I have my homing switch there, or limit switch, whatever you want to call it. And then what that blue tape is holding on, I took some HDPE and I cut myself a little wedge. So it's just sitting on the top of the Z box, and I just got that tape. I've got to fasten it permanently, but right now I just have it with that piece of tape. And what happens is when the Z goes up, it'll start catching that wedge, and it will push the limit switch back until it clicks, and then it'll stop. So, anybody have any questions about anything while I'm holding this camera and I'm out here?
I don't see any questions at the moment. But I was going to share some behind-the-scenes moments with Dave. See, most people don't realize it, but I've been there, so I know that box that he has there, that priority mail box, is actually filled with a bunch of old T-shirts of Dave's that he uses to cut up. Those are his filter replacements for his his router.
Well, yeah, you can see I've got my.
I love that old T-shirt.
Filter. On there, and and I've had a lot of people say, "What the heck you put that on there for? That doesn't do anything." Well, let me tell you, a router of this type sucks air in here, and it blows it out the bottom. So, if somebody thinks that it's not doing anything, they need to come over here after I've cut something, because this thing will be covered. And it may not get all of it, but I figure anything that it does get, it's less stuff going through the router, and it's got to be a good thing. So
we have a little suggestion from Gussie here. Dave, why don't you draw up the how to cable routing on your plans? To drag chain routing on the plans would help them much more with the routing of the wires.
Well, yeah, but you know, if I did everything, then it would no longer be a DIY kit.
This is true. This is true.
You know,
it's true. You might not want to go Dave's route and use an old T-shirt. I mean, some of you have old underwears that you might prefer to use. But
I don't know that
my suggestion is stay away from underwears because, you know, the holes let the sawdust through.
Okay, I don't know. Let me raise this back up a little bit. There's no telling what it's pointing at now.
Yeah, you've got it good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't move it over this way. Now you can see my mangled mess of wires all over here. That box is just mounted to. That was the box I was using for that other machine, and I took it to Melinda's when we had the meetup. So I put everything on a board so that I could just take the board and set it up on the table and take it over there. It was real easy without having to disconnect anything. But it's kind of a jumbled up mess. Although I do kind of like it because I can see the UC100 real clear. I can see the blue light and the green light.
They used they're talking about the filter, and Sean says he really likes that. He's doing it on his, and Larry uses a dust mask for his.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
it is a very good idea. I ran
buy filters and figure out a way to put them on here stuff. And to me, I mean, you can't. I mean, look, you hold it like this, and you take the shot back, and it sucks it up and cleans it off. You pull it out.
Yep.
Stick it right back on there.
And I'll tell you,
to keep
I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done that before I. One time I didn't have the vacuum. I forgot to turn the vacuum system on, and I was doing MDF spoil board. It was. I mean, yeah, I have the enclosure, so it's not going to get out here. But I truly think that is what killed my 8902, my 890 router. That really messed it up is the amount of dust in the air that went through that.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, dust can't be good for it. I mean, it may not hurt it, but it can't be good. So I've been doing that for years. And like I said, this router is probably, I don't know, 12, 15 years old. The switch broke because I used to turn it on here at the switch, and the switch broke, but it broke in the on position. So I just keep it plugged in and use that little switch thing that my buddy Jim made me. So I never turn that. So it's perfect for using in a CNC because it's on all the time. The switch.
Absolutely.
And like I was going to say, this little wire or plastic tie is only on here to keep this on here when the router's not running. Because when you turn the router on, the suction from it trying to pull air through there keeps that on. So, all right. Any other questions? I still can't get that camera back the way I had it. I guess it don't matter.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. Talking amongst themselves. Dave, do you like your chuck weight kind? Huh? Oh, must be what kind? The chuck.
That's a muscle chuck.
I love the muscle chuck.
My buddy Ed White, known on YouTube as Georgia Bubba, he sent me that. I haven't used it a whole lot because I had it on this router on the old Sidewinder, and I didn't really run that machine that much. And I thought, well, I got it. I might as well stick it on here. And it's okay, I guess. To me,
Yeah, I swear by it, but then again, I change an awful lot of bits in between jobs, and it is such a godsend. It really is. It's so quick to do a quarter turn. It's well balanced. It doesn't have any issues with the router. I'm very happy with mine.
yeah, I see some folks over at Mark Lindsay saying shop's looking good, Dave. Mark, it only looks good on this side of the camera. You know, that's the thing about doing these shows. You only got to have a little bit of an area clean. You don't have to clean up real good. If you could see that side of my shop, I mean, it's a lot better because for a while I had that stand that I had the old router on. It was still sitting down. I mean, I couldn't even hardly move through here. But I've got rid of that, got all the stuff that was up underneath it, and a lot of it's up underneath this thing now.
Yep.
So I've really got a lot of room. I've got my scroll saw is sitting right here, just about 3 feet from me. And I figured out that as long as I'm not using it, I might as well keep it pushed up against my little cabinet where I've got that planer setting on top. And that leaves me a lot of room right through here.
Todd was asking if your router, if the, I was going to say underwear, if your t-shirt makes the router run hot.
No.
Yeah, never had an issue with that. And
never had an issue with that. And now, if you ran it and 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 never cleaned it off, it's going to cake, you know, all that, like especially MDF and stuff. It's going to cake on there, and eventually it won't be able to get enough air. So yeah, it would run hot. But you know, it's right there. I can see it when I'm changing bits. So if I see it's starting to get a bunch of stuff on it, I just pull it off and hit it with the shop vac real quick, throw it back on there.
And what's his face? Carlo was asking when the next meetup is.
Well, we got a wood show coming up.
Yep, that's where I'm going to be.
Is that who asked that, Carlo?
Carlo Avergas.
Is he going to come to the?
Carlo, will you be at the Atlanta show?
I think he sent me a message the other day saying him and Rebecca, his wife Rebecca, might come to this and up in. It's like I was freezing up or something.
And they were asking where to get the muscle chuck. That's at musclechuck.com. There are 14 different muscle chucks, 2 type 6s, and 1 through 13. And you have to get the right one that fits your router. Go to the Muscle Chuck site and you can find out which one it is. I have a 6A, I believe it is, for the spindle, for the Chinese spindle. ER20 call it. Porter cable, I think, is type 1 or type 4, one of the two. And if you do find the type you need, then Google it on Amazon because they sell it for the same price and it's Amazon. That's my recommendation. And you get it in a couple days with Prime.
Yeah, is my camera quit?
It paused for a second. It's sporadic, but you're good. And I hear you.
Maybe these extension cord things aren't working that great. Let me swap it back out. I'll be dark for a while again.
Yep.
And I'll swap it.
And
swap
let's
it back
see,
out real quick.
Gussie was asking me about the muscle chuck, the collets. It comes with a 1/2 inch. The muscle chuck is a 1/2 inch collet itself. It doesn't have collets inside it, which is a beautiful thing because the way it grips is instead of having a collet that has a possibility of slippage or runoff or run out, this thing actually slips. It's like a collar, and you tighten it with one simple Allen wrench, 6mm Allen wrench, and I buy a T-handle for it, and it grips like a mother holding her baby. You could just get your regular adapters. Whenever I have 1/4 inch bits in mine, I just use an adapter.
Yeah. Real quick, I saw Carlo put in a chat that he's going to be in Atlanta. So I'm going to be there. I'm pretty sure Javi's going to be there. Let's see who else said they're going to be there. Jeff Connor's going to be there. There'll be a bunch of folks. And I had somebody today, I can't remember who it was. It might have been, no, I think it was Corey. Corey's on there.
Yeah, Sean and Corey said they'll be there also.
Yeah, he was asking me, you know, if I was going to be there. I'll definitely be there for sure Friday and Saturday. Sunday's always iffy for me because usually by Sunday I'm pretty tuckered out of having to stand on my feet all them 2 days because it's a long day standing on concrete. But I'll be there wandering around. You may find me looking at lathe stuff, looking at some lathe tools or something, or demonstrations. And I'll also be spending some time over at the Southern Woodworkers booth. They're going to have a booth again. Yep,
I'll be there too.
In fact, I'm going to be working on a project. I'm not going to tell anybody what it is, but I'm on it. In fact, I may make 2 of them if I can. But I'm going to be working on something to take up there. You know, they always have guys bring their stuff, you know, whatever they've made to school and have it on display there. So I may bring a couple of things.
Yep, likewise.
How is the dog doing?
Rocky or Jack?
Rocky's more popular than I am, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Rocky's great. He stays tuckered out now though because he's old. He'll be 12 years old in September, and I have a second dog now. Those of you might know I was kind of puppy setting another dog, and I'm keeping that dog full time now. And his name is Jack. He's a black lab. Got more energy than I don't know what, but yeah, he keeps Rocky really hopping. So they're both in the house. In fact, I had to when I come out here to do these shows or come outside for any length of time, and they're not going to be out here with me. Jack has to spend time in the crate because they ain't no telling what they would get into.
Blacksmith just went into the personal. Dave, are you married? What does the missus think about all your hobbies?
Don't even. You can tell that's somebody that doesn't know me because I don't even like to use that M word. No, I'm not married, and I ain't looking at it. So. No, my life's good just the way it is.
Yep.
Let's see.
Quarter X2.
Kids are always more popular than the rest of them. Okay.
Robbie, what is an X2? Is that it's one of those toy brands like Shapeoko or something? Nothing against the toy brands. Did I say that out loud?
I've tried to start being nicer to, when I say those other brands.
Piranha Shark. Oh, did I say that?
Holding back.
X-Car. I'll just name every brand that's not a good sturdy one. No, they all have their limits. I mean, they all have their uses.
They're all. I've got an X-Carve in there. I didn't buy it, and nobody gave it to me. I took it in trade for a garage works from somebody. And I keep saying one of these days, I'm going to probably use that as a laser engraver because if you're not, I just think they make lousy CNCs when you're trying to cut stuff. I know people use them and they make great stuff and all that, but you got to go so light cuts and it takes forever. And
yep,
you got the belts, and you probably got to hold your breath if it's a long run to make sure it's going to. Nah.
Yeah, in my little mind, in my world, there are 3 categories, if you will, of CNC. One is I call it. It's kind of insulting, but I call it the toy CNCs, the ones with everything from Dremels to just laminating routers, and then you have the hobbyist CNCs like the GarageWorks, Gattons, and even the Cam Masters and the Lagunas, and some of the Lagunas fit into that. And then you've got the industrial mills, which is just, you know, the 20K and up category.
Somebody, Joe Downer, or I hope I said his name right, was asking about, it's done scrolled. He was asking about a
GRBL or Raspberry Pi for a controller.
Yeah. I've seen guys do that. I mean, if you're an electronic geek and want to do that, go for it. But I'm going to stay with something more tried and true myself.
Yeah, I might eventually do a show on Raspberry Pis and stuff, because they are very inexpensive to build a controller out of it. But like with everything, there's a balance. You have to, for everything very, very inexpensive, like building your own controller, you have to have a certain a bigger knowledge of electronics, or do a lot more spend a lot more time researching, and time. It's the whole balance of time, knowledge, and money. You know.
Yep. I don't even know. Is it getting? Let's see what time it's getting to be. Oh yeah, it's about 9 o'clock. Anybody got any other questions or anything they want to know about whatever, wood show, whatever?
Jerry Brown, a 75% fail rate on the X-Carve.
Yeah, Joe. By the way, I'm not knocking the Raspberry Pis and all that stuff. I'm not an electronic guy, and I don't really know anything about them. But you know, I just stick with the stuff I know, or the stuff that I think I can learn. Not that I couldn't learn that, I probably could, but like right now, I'm using a Xylotex, which we all know is, you know, back when you could buy them like that, is about as easy and plug and play as you can get. I probably will eventually upgrade to a Lead Shine. What is it? MX 4660, I think.
Yep.
And you know, and build a little box and all that stuff.
That is a great unit.
Yeah, they're really nice. So. I'm watching.
Let's see.
CAD programs. That's not a good question to ask me, because I've always drawn in SolidWorks. So, you know,
yep.
that to me, you can't beat SolidWorks. You know, Fusion 360 may come close, but you know, I always tell people, if you're getting started in CNC, you know, you're brand new at this, and if you've drawn in any other kind of CAD package, whether it be Turbo CAD or, you know, Mickey Mouse CAD or whatever it might be, if you're, you know, proficient in that, draw stuff up in that to start with, and then import it into whatever you get, Cut 2D, VCar Pro, whatever. But if you are completely new and don't have any CAD experience, then I would say go ahead and get the CAD CAM software, like, for example, VCar Pro, and learn to draw in it. Since you're going to have to learn to draw in something anyway, you might as well learn to draw in it, and you're right there. You know, in that one, Aspire, whatever it might be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when years ago when I was working for an ad agency on doing graphic arts in Quark Express, and PageMaker, and they were Adobe PageMaker, and they were all the commercial applications. I had friends running circles around a lot of these people with print artists, and they were used to the print artist, and those let's just call them non-commercial programs, the home use programs. But they all did the same function, and that's the same thing with these CAD programs. They all eventually, some have more features than others, but if you're comfortable with one particular type of program, by all means excel at it and move on to another if it floats your boat. But uh, uh, who are we to say use this program or this controller or that? That's why they call it do it yourself. You could customize it to whatever way you like.
Yeah, I'm
software, hardware.
Questions here. Mark Lindsay asked me a question about dust collection, and if I was going to add that. It's not going to be anything fancy like the big dust collector I've got in there on the Gatton. I do have a relatively large shop vac. It's a Craftsman 16-gallon. I don't remember how many horsepower, 6 horsepower or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's fairly big. It's a lot bigger than the little one I got in here now. And I keep it in the garage beside the Gatton to clean up other messes. But I'll probably bring it back here and rig myself up a dust shoe with those black brushes, very similar to what I have on the spindle in there. I really like those black brushes. I think that works great. But one of the reasons why I'm going to put it on here is, one, I decided not to build an enclosure around this thing. Just because I didn't want to. And for another, I plan to do a lot more stuff out here in my shop as opposed to the garage. This thing is big enough that I can even cut the Gatton CNC kits on it. So if I've got some of those to cut, once I get the T-track and all in here, I'll be cutting those out here. But instead of sitting in the house watching TV and looking at the thing on a camera out, on the Gatton, I'll be over in that corner turning something on the lathe or cutting segments on the table saw or doing something. So since I plan on staying out here, I'm going to have at least a shop vac, hose routed, and I'll probably have something similar to what I have in there where it's just hanging from this lumber rack and kind of centered where it can reach all the areas, but then have a little thing with the those black brushes. I really like that better than the clear plastic stuff that I'd used in the past. I still got it here somewhere. I don't remember where I put it now.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the black brushes for mine. It's the most functional thing for vacuum, but unfortunately, it's the least functional thing for filming. Not that anybody wants to see somebody carve. Well, it's fun to watch, I suppose, if you time lapse.
Yeah, that's the only time. You almost have to leave the dust shoe off when you're trying to film it, and that's only for the CNC nerds that just love watching stuff cut. Yeah. I don't really, when I shoot a video like that, I put some of that in there sometimes, but I just, speed it up about 8 times and, shoot a few seconds, then cut it off. And then, if it's a long run, come back later. Or like if I'm doing 3D, I'll do a little bit of the roughing pass in fast motion and then come back when I'm doing the finishing pass and stuff. I mean, it's it's pretty
David
boring,
asks
really.
David's asking if one day is enough to see the Atlanta show. Or are there different activities on different days?
Who asked that?
David Stewart asked that.
David Stewart. Well, let me ask you this. Have you been to this show before?
I'm guessing he hasn't.
If this is your first time, you probably won't see everything in a day. You might. It just depends on what,
It also depends on how much of a social butterfly you are. Like I need all 3 days. And because it took me about 3 hours to see the entire show, taking my time, I mean, not really taking my time, but mostly taking my time. But the rest of the time, it was incredible the amount of woodworkers that you just sit and talk to. Um, the people that you've either seen in a hangout or converse face to face on, I mean, in a chat room. It's a wonderful community out there. So
Yeah.
I recommend you give yourself the time.
Yeah, that's probably one of the coolest things about the shows is not only is there a lot of neat tools and stuff you can spend money on if you're not careful, but being able to meet folks that, especially for me, because I see these names in the chat, and I mean some of them I've met. Mark Lindsay, Jerry Brown's been here. Carlo, I haven't met in person. Corey, I haven't met in person. So you get an opportunity to put a face with the name. Yeah, I may know what they look like from pictures on Facebook, but it's still not the same as meeting them in person. So it's so that's why I say it's hard to see everything in one day because you'll spend a lot of time talking and meeting folks.
Yeah, and you see them, you watch them on all the time, and you never realize how, like, people don't incredibly realize how incredibly tall and thin I am from
well,
from
me
these
too.
videos.
I mean, the camera adds what, like 40 pounds, I think.
Oh, at least. And the camera takes away. I'm 5'7". It must take away 2 feet because when I'm at the show, I'm 6'5".
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. If you can, I mean, if one day's all you got that you can come anyway. But if you can come for at least 2 days, that's even better.
Yep.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Jerry Brown. Yeah, I agree with Jerry Brown. He says the camera adds 30 pounds easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I have 2 cameras on me. Just saying.
In the back part of the show, you have the old boxes and boxes and boxes of the dollar stuff. That, see, if you have time to kill and really enjoy, I don't want to say wasting time because for some people it may not be, but I'll say it, wasting time, and you really enjoy the high quality of a Vermont American bit, then by all means, go straight to the back and dig in through the flea market section. But the rest of the show is always interesting. And again, the people. But it's not it's not a big, huge convention where you're not going to be able to walk the entire show in a day.
I mean, probably not. It's not that huge. It's not like it's not like a big football field or anything. But there's a lot of stuff to see there. There's a lot of vendors. And I know sometimes, I'll go to the show the first day and then come home and go, man, I don't think I don't even went down that road, because I get busy talking to folks and meeting folks and you may not even go down the road. So the next day I try to go down that road and see what I missed. But I see Jerry Brown said he's going to make it there Friday and Saturday. Jerry, is Michael Chipser coming with you? You guys want to ride together or anything, or is he coming? I don't know if he's coming or not. Didn't get anything from the dump table, but he looked. I bought some
the
stuff.
Dump table. That's right. That's what it's called.
Yeah, the dump table. I mean, you just got to realize it's in that pile of stuff
for a reason.
Big table for a reason. But
I know I've been tempted. The thing is, it's like, you love a good deal, and every year I'm tempted. One year I'm going to break down and I'm going to be sorry, but one year I'm actually going to buy a whole, like 10 or 20 for 50 cents each, those quarter bits, and probably only use each one once.
Yeah, Raymond Dixon says, is there a show location list for other parts of the country? If you go to the website,
here, I'll pull it up and I'll post it on the thing.
Okay, thank you, Hobby. If you find a link, you can go to there, and there's a whole list of different cities that it goes to.
Got it right here.
It's in Indianapolis this weekend. It was in Tampa, I think the weekend before that, maybe.
That link takes you straight to the schedule of all the shows. Obviously, half of them are done already. Well, I'm sorry. Baltimore, New England, Columbus, and Tampa are done. Indianapolis is going on now.
Yep.
St. Louis, Kansas City, New Jersey, Milwaukee, Atlanta, and Chantilly in that order are the next shows.
And I hate it for anybody that lives out west, but the St. Louis show, I guess, is about as far west as they go. But I will tell you that Atlanta's the place where it's at. There'll be more folks come to Atlanta because, I mean, number one, we're a huge town. Number one airport, busiest airport in the world. And there's a ton of makers, you know, CNC guys, makers, woodworkers, whatever you want to call us. There's a ton of them in the Atlanta area and you know, Alabama and South Carolina and stuff where it's not that far a drive. So yeah, Atlanta's a good place. Always has been. I've been going to the Atlanta show before it was a YouTube thing. You know, me and Melinda would go every year. And then of course the YouTubers started hitting it up, and we kind of messed it up a little bit. I think I'll never forget about 2 years ago, back when it was still at the Norcross, North Atlanta Trade Center in Norcross. Melinda and I rode together, and you know, we hit the door, and she goes this way, and I start going around this way. About an hour later, she finds me and she says, "Well, have you been all down the aisles?" And I says, "I haven't made it no farther than here," because people would stop and you know, talk to me, which is fine. You know, that's part of the reason why I go. But yeah, I hadn't even made it down that first aisle, and she'd already been up and down every single aisle.
Yep. Yeah, it's great meeting everybody up there. Yeah. Have you heard any word of, is Becca planning another meetup in Texas, or are you planning another one in Atlanta later on in the year, like in the summer or something?
Well,
or October.
You know, Becca's I think she's got a surgery either coming up or I think it's coming up.
That's right.
And so I don't know if they're planning on one out there. They had another one, you know, not the one that I went to back in April, end of April. Well, that's something I got to do. I got to get my stuff hung up on the wall back there, my plaques and stuff. But they had another one somewhere in Texas, I think. I don't know if it was just CNCers. I think it was a little bit of everything, makers or whatever. But you know, when Melinda and I hosted that one, well, actually, she kind of hosted it. It was at her place. I just bought the barbecue. That was September 30th, I guess, and you know, we both had so much fun. You know, as soon as it was over, we was talking about, well, maybe we should make that an annual thing. So I don't know. You know,
I wouldn't mind flying up or driving up to that one at least once.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go back to Texas if the timing worked out right. Jerry was he's saying she's out of commission for a bit, so we need another meetup. Yeah. Well, you know, like I said, I kind of look at the wood show as one. Now I will say there's, you know, if you're coming to the Atlanta show, there will be some after show shenanigans. Not by me.
They're always.
I live close enough. I come home. I'm going to sleep in my own bed.
Yeah, it's nothing official, but a lot of the YouTubers, a lot of the woodworkers. Well, you don't have to be a YouTuber. A lot of the woodworkers get together in the hotel across from the Galleria Mall for drinks or whatever. They get together for lunch, different groups. You just meet up with people, organize your own thing. There's nothing official and nothing. It's just wherever somebody goes and the crowd follows, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there'll be some other stuff going on. Personally, myself, I live just close enough to be able to drive back and forth. You know, it's about an hour, maybe a little more, depending on the crappy Atlanta traffic. But it's not worth it to me to get a hotel room to stay up there and do all that partying stuff. I'm too old to party. You know, I only party till about 10 o'clock or so, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I got my dogs I'd have to board and stuff like that, or get somebody to look after them. So, yeah, but I'm just putting that out there so other people know that there's after show stuff. If you want to go out and meet up with the YouTubers and or whatever, you know, you don't even have to be a YouTuber, just, you know, meet up and talk. But I can tell you there's a lot of talking that goes on during the shows.
Yep.
I'm about wore out from talking and standing on my feet by the time the show ends at 6 o'clock. So
yeah, especially on that hard concrete floor there, it's
See, Jerry
tires
Brown,
quickly.
there's a reason I got a room across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be able to stumble back without. See, for me, that's why I don't want to go out and have even a drink or two with. Not that I'm antisocial and don't want to, but I have to drive through about 7 different jurisdictions to get back home, and I'm not going to be doing that.
Well, Larry's asking if there's a way to find other CNC. Yeah, Larry's finding out. Larry wants to know if there's a way to find other CNCers in his area or in particular. Well, the map.
Yeah, you can go to the map. I hate to say it, but that map is really. I mean,
outdated.
When you look at it, it's impressive because there's a bunch of people on there, but it is terribly outdated. And it's not Becca's fault. It's because, you know, people don't tell her to add them. I mean, some of them might, but I haven't updated a list, you know, because I had a list on the website, and that's not even half the folks.
Yeah, and there are a few maps out there. Southern Woodworkers. I know if you go to Zach Manring's group, Southern Woodworkers has another map of members of Southern Woodworkers. So, I mean, there's another map there. There's the big one for the CNCers that Larry's looking for, which was it Melinda that made it or Becca? Mind is going. Becca Miller. Yeah, and it has the shoestring, it has the Gatton, and it has the Garage Works folks out there.
Yeah, and she's also even added, you know, there's a thing that says other. So if you've got a X-Carve or whatever, you know, she'll add you on there and just put you down as an other.
Yeah.
But
otherwise,
it was
toy group.
You know, it was mainly to find the people that had either the old plywood Sidewinder, a Garage Works, or the Gatton CNC. So, any other questions? I know we're getting. Well, we did get kind of a late start too, 9:24. Any other questions before we get out of here? Give it a minute because I know there's a lag on there. Yeah, Mark just mentioned the Gatton Community Forum. I mean, that's what we call it. It's technically, for those of you who may not know, let me clear this up. I have 2 different websites. There's www.davegatton.com, which is where you'll find all the stuff about Gatton CNC, as well as any other thing I might do. I have plans for sale for the different projects I've made over the years. But that's the one you go to, davegatton.com, if you're interested in the Gatton CNC. If you're interested in the GarageWorks CNC, you would go to www.garageworkscnc.com, and that is technically where the Dave Gatton Community Forum is. I had to stick it on one or the other, so it's on the GarageWorks. There's also, if you go to the davegatton.com website, right on that main page, it'll say Dave Gatton Community Forum. You can click on that, and it'll shoot you over there to it, so you can get to that forum from either website. But it's, if you go to the GarageWorks website, it's on that website. You go up to the top, you'll see a link at the top that says Community Forum. We have, I think, 300 and some folks that are members. We get, it's a public forum. There's, every time I get on there to look, because I look at it every morning, I always go and check the latest topics just to see, you know, make sure everybody's behaving and what the posts are, and if there's any questions for me or anything. And every time I go on there, down below, it'll say there's 5 people online, 2 members and 3 guests. You know, you can tell who the members are online, but you don't know who the guests are. So it's a public thing, so anybody can come and read and get information and stuff like that. But of course, if you join, you get privy to some of the other stuff. We also have 2 Facebook groups. Again, one for the Gatton CNC, one for GarageWorks CNC. There's a lot of folks that are members of both. You don't have, you know, technically you don't have to have a Gatton CNC or a GarageWorks CNC to become a member of one of those. And again, it's a public thing, but it is really for the people that have a GarageWorks or a Gatton. So if there's somebody that joins and then they start posting a bunch of stuff about their $20,000 Laguna or something, they won't be on there long, because that's not what that's for. It's not a general CNC Facebook page. There's plenty of those out there. There's probably 100 of different ones of that. These are for, like I said, Gatton CNC folks, GarageWorks CNC folks, or people that are wanting to learn about one or the other, and maybe get one in the future. So I hate to sound like a jerk, you know, that I'm going to kick somebody off, but I mean, that's what they're for. They're for the people that have supported me. And I don't want it crowded up with a bunch of posts that are totally non-related to either a GarageWorks or a Gatton. So, you know, most people are pretty good and don't put junk on it. Every once in a while I have to delete something, but
yeah, I put all the links up for all the different things you've mentioned.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, we've got about 300, a little over 300 folks in the community forum. That's, you know, really that forum makes it easier to search for something because everything's searchable and there's categories and all. The Facebook groups, it's much harder to find something. You know, if you read something 2 days ago and you go, man, I don't remember what that post was, I want to go back and find it. You know, if you don't remember who posted it or whatever, you probably are not going to find it. But we do have 650 or so in the Gatton CNC Facebook group, and 600 and something in the GarageWorks. Yeah, Mark Lindsay says, don't care about your 600,000 6-axis machine. Sorry, yeah, that's not, those Facebook groups aren't for that. You know, or yeah. if you work for a company and you run a big Thermwood or something like that, that's great, but that's not the group to post your stuff in. Sorry.
Yep. They're talking about they're talking about what's the best speeds to run, and that's something that I've always said. It's trial and error for V carving. Trial and error. It depends on the wood. It depends on the machine. It depends on the bit. There are a lot of factors. 60 to 80 is a good starting point to, and it depends on how deep you cut. Feeds and speeds is it's a question that no person should. You should go to advice for people for around what speed should I start, but under no circumstances should you accept any answer as law, because
you know,
it
I hate
changes.
to blow people off, but I get so tired of people asking about feeds and speeds, especially if I don't know, you know, what kind of CNC do you have? Is it some rickety thing you built yourself, or is it one of mine? Is it a Gatton? Is it a Garage Works? Is it a Laguna? You know, what are we talking about here? Are you running a spindle? Are you running a, you know, a little Dremel? You know, all that stuff matters. And for somebody just to say, well, what speed should I use? Well, what material? What bit? What machine? You know, there's just so many questions that I usually don't even answer something like that.
A lot of factors and no concrete answers.
You know, unless they've got one of my machines, then I can maybe help them a little bit.
Yeah, the only thing
I bet my CNC will run faster than a Garage Works. Might very well.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if you know, I'm sure it will, but I don't know if a 7-foot Garage Works, if you ever build one, can have me surfing on it like the Gatton.
But can you run yours vertically, Michael? That's the question.
There you go. There you go.
I can't wait till you get all that thing done and come back on the show. And
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Watching all them chips fall straight.
I'll broadcast from the other one and watch it carve out some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other. Michael Chipser points out another point. It's not only bits, machine, drive system is whether you're doing belts, but threaded rod or rack and pinion. I mean, there's a lot of things to go into it. Your machine, you should know it better than anyone. If you don't, it's a simple matter of you gotta just get out there and carve stuff. You know, start with the cheap wood and then adjust for whatever wood. Because see, that's the thing. There's so many variables. If you try to come up with a number based on some cheap throwaway pallet wood, it's going to completely change when you put hard oak in it or soft pine.
Yeah. Yep. I don't see any other questions. We've had a pretty good crowd tonight and had a lot of good questions from over there. Let me, before we get off of here, you guys can kind of give me a yay or nay over there in the chat. Would you like to have one of these kind of general Q&A type sessions like once a month? But put your comments over there in the chat, and we'll see. Got a thumbs down. Sorry if I pissed somebody off. Probably an user or something.
Their finger slipped. It was meant to be a thumbs up.
I appreciate you hitting the thumbs down. I don't care.
Hey,
at least you were here. Okay, I see a bunch of yeses. Sure, yes, yepper. Okay, well, I guess maybe we'll do that then. Maybe I'll start keeping the first Saturday of the month.
Sure.
Guest free, without any specific topic, and we'll just kind of wing it and take questions and all that. So. Yeah, it looks like everybody.
It seems unanimous.
Let me ask you this: would you rather do that than guests? No, I'm just kidding. Because it's always good to have guests on here and talk about things.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I'll start doing that then. I already got the rest of February booked with folks to come on here. I haven't started filling up March yet, so I'll just leave the first Saturday in March open.
Yeah, Jerry Brown wants the guests. He wants you to give us time to think about new questions all month.
Okay, yeah, I think once a month would probably.
That's good.
Corey says, so Dave, so what about feeds and speeds? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's see. I can eat a nutty bar in about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, one thing too is I'm going to, continue to do these shows from out here in the shop. If there's any, when we do these Q&A sessions, if there's any kind of thing that needs to be demonstrated, of course, like I said, I'm not quite ready to cut because my T-track won't come in until Monday, but after Monday or whenever the T-track gets here, I'll have this thing up and ready to cut. So, I could mute myself if we're going to run the router, or if we're just moving the machine around, I could do some kind of demonstration. I saw somebody the other day. I remember who it is, but I'm not going to mention their name because I don't want to embarrass anybody. And I don't think they're watching tonight. But and this was in another Facebook group. It was in the CNC router tips group, I think. And they asked a question like, well, I'm running my machine, but it's a really long run. Is there a way to stop it and be able to come back to it the next day or a couple of days from now or whatever? And I'm thinking, oh man, I've already talked about it. I don't know how many different times. So anyhow, but maybe, if anybody's got a question on that, I can show you how I do it. There's, if you've got homing switches like this thing's going to have, it's really pretty easy. But even if you don't have homing switches, like I've ran that old Sidewinder like that for years, it's still easy. It's just a little step you got to do ahead of time and think. But you don't ever have to worry about losing your place if power goes out or whatever. So maybe we'll do that.
Mike, Biker Mike said a T-track would make a good video. I mean, I know I'll be making one. I don't know if you will.
I probably won't, just because when you're shooting video, doing stuff, I mean,
it takes 10 times as long.
Yeah, it takes, at least 3 or 4 times as long to do what you're trying to do, because you're setting up camera angles and worrying about that. And I'm probably just going to, when the T-track comes in, I'll figure it up. I'll fire up the table saw, tap my MDF, set it on there, and get ready to go. I probably won't bother. I mean, when you see the next show, you'll be able to see it here. I mean, it's not hard to do. Mark Lindsay, he did a T-track video. He said, I know a guy who did a T-track video.
That's right.
So, any other questions before we get out of here?
Do you do anything with the TB6600? I have to ask, what's a TB6600, Grant?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Is that some kind of controller or driver? I don't know. If you haven't heard me mention it before, I probably don't know anything about it. Because, like I said, anybody that knows me and has followed me for very long at all knows that if it ain't broke, I don't fix it. So if I'm using something and it's been good to me, I just keep using it till I can't use it no more. Rich McNatt, where's my sticker? Buddy, I feel so bad because I know you sent me one. I can go in the house right now and put my hands on the bowl you sent me, and I know I've got that sticker somewhere, and I will run across it sooner or later. But as I mentioned earlier,
Yeah, don't feel bad, Rich. Mine's not up there either yet. It's
I'm
somewhere.
A single guy, so I'm probably not the best housekeeper. So it's in there somewhere. I'll find it. But if you want, it'd probably be quicker if you'd want to send me another one.
Yeah, Robbie.
Like I said, as far as the stickers go, there's still lots of prime real estate left. So if you want to get your sticker in a good spot where it will be seen, not only during these shows, these show videos, but also whenever I'm shooting videos, which I plan to start doing a lot more video, here. That's why I kind of dressed up that wall a little bit so it wouldn't look so crummy. get me your sticker, because once all the good spots are gone, then they'll start going down lower and it'll be blocked and you won't be able to see them as well. So
it's kind of funny. I was looking at the chat and I'm seeing Jerry Brown talking about building an R2D2 on the Gatton, and the next line is Girl Scout cookies. Robbie Sidney's advertising. Oh, by the way, Girl Scout cookies. Ooh, I love these. To help out his granddaughter, and all of a sudden the two mishmashed in my mind, and I thought, wouldn't it be neat if I cut some Girl Scout cookies on the Gatton, just to have in a bowl and have people just think they're Girl Scout cookies and take bites out of them. Nice little prank. Cruel prank.
Rich McNatt, you got it. He says he'll send another sticker, but he wants the shirt in return. Let me know what size shirt and what kind of shirt you want. I have the Garage Works CNC. I have them in both the orange like I'm wearing tonight, and I also have them black with the orange lettering. And then I also have Gatton CNC shirts that have they're like a navy blue with a machine tool gray lettering. So you just let me know what size and which shirt you want, and I will send you one, buddy. What's a sticker? Business card. Yeah, it's funny because all these people have got, all the YouTubers got into the sticker thing. Yeah. I don't have stickers. I've never had stickers. If you want one of my stickers, you got to buy a machine to get one of mine. They'll come on one right there, and also on the back. So that's how you get my stickers. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up, Rich. Like I said, make sure you let me know which shirt. I'll send you a couple of shirts. How about that? I'll just, maybe if I got all three of the kind of shirts in the right size, I'll just send you all three of them.
Yeah, Larry,
I know I got that sticker somewhere.
In answer to Larry's question, they are sort of like business cards for woodworkers. Some of them, some people trade stickers. Some people give stickers away. Some people sell stickers. Some people only offer them with a product, and some don't have stickers at all. But it's fun to display them. If I've got a whole box full, like Dave, somewhere misplaced in the house.
Yeah, it started being a big YouTube thing where when everybody meets at the thank you, Raymond. You're awesome, buddy. He hit the super chat. Yep. I don't know where that money goes. I guess it goes in the YouTube pot and
into the AdSense. Yes.
They get there. Is that where it goes?
That's where it goes. It goes into AdSense, and eventually you'll end up with it.
Okay. Well, I think you hit it up the other day, and I'm like, where does that go? Does it go to my PayPal account or what? And I couldn't find where it went. And I thought, well, if it goes to YouTube, I won't know whether it's there or not. But thank you, Raymond. I appreciate that. But yeah, a lot of the YouTubers, that got to be a big thing, and it still is, I guess. They do the stickers. Everybody swap, like you send me one of yours, I'll mail you one of mine, and in everybody's shop, they'll have like some kind of a sticker board, or Steve Carmichael's got a fancy carousel thing that spins around. People like to watch their videos to find their sticker. But like I said, I've never been stickers. I got business cards, and this is my sticker right here. So,
and I can't find mine for the life of me, but they're nearby.
But like I said, anybody wants to get put on the board here, send me a sticker, and I'll be happy to display it. Ken, where you been? Probably been out there in that shop working on that segmented bowl thing.
Yep.
Good to see you on here, Ken. Ken, I need one of your stickers to put on here. I don't think I have one. Yeah, Michael Chips uses laser to brand. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark, yours is probably one of the easiest ones to see. Ray Charles could see that one probably.
Yeah, eventually I'm going to try to do Because I can definitely do it with my rotary engraver, but I would love to try with the Gatton to create a what's that called, a branding iron out of either brass or aluminum, some soft metal. I mean, it just need a block of aluminum, reverse image, and I mean our CNCs cut aluminum, they cut brass slowly, but
You know, that's one of the things I want to do with this one is I've had people ask me if a Garage Works will cut aluminum, and yeah, it will. I haven't done it. I cut a little bit of aluminum the other day making some stuff for Mike Fulton. But I
Well,
used
technically you have, Dave. I've heard you admit before that you've sliced through quite a few of those little Rockler aluminum
yeah,
clamps.
rocket clamps are aluminum, so technically I have cut aluminum. But
Yep.
but yeah, that's one of the things, and I'll be doing a video when I do that, showing that these things will cut. You can cut aluminum with anything if you know how to do it right. I mean,
Yep.
of course, you can also break a lot of bits until you figure it out. But
Yeah,
if you know
that's
what
the
you're
big
doing,
thing.
you can cut aluminum. I've cut with that old Sidewinder that was behind me 2 weeks ago that you guys have been seeing in these shows. I cut 3/8 6061 aluminum, big parts.
Yep.
I've still got them in there. I showed Hobby one the other day.
Yep.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Yeah, Peter Pasuelo's got a video out of him cutting aluminum, and there have been others that I've seen that have cut with weaker machines, have cut a lot faster, and some people say that the trick is, well, it's all about the feeds and speeds with metal. The trick is to keep the chips flying out fast enough where the chips are actually dissipating the heat of the bit and it doesn't get hot, without not so fast that you break the bit. That's a hard balance to reach.
Now, Corey's saying slow with lubrication. Well,
yep,
maybe on a mill, but if you're using a router, it's, at least the way I did it, it was much faster. Feed rate, I did a speed rate of about, I think I was doing 100 inches a minute, but I was only cutting about 30 thou, and the spindle was running about 21,000 RPM, and I didn't have any lubrication. What you have to do is keep the chips that you're making out of the way so that it's not cutting them twice. That's what will screw up your bit in a hurry.
Yep. If the chips melt and stick on the bit, it's done for.
I didn't have a compressor in the garage, but I took that big shop vac that I was talking about earlier and switched the hose so that it would blow instead of suck. And I just every once in a while flip it on and blow the chips out of the path, and it cut that aluminum. I won't say like butter. I mean, it cut it fine, but yeah, I had to go about 30 thou a pass, so it did take a little bit.
Yep. But
yeah, it'll gum up to the, and you have to make sure it's the right kind of aluminum too. You don't want to try to cut 3003 or 5052.
Right.
You want to cut 6061 or higher, the type of aluminum that's machinable. The other softer aluminum, that's for people that fabricating shops that form the stuff, form it. So any other questions before we get out of here? We're getting up on 2 hours, just about. It's 9:40 something. Still having some good questions over there. I just don't like making these things too long. Of course, most of the time you get your views from the live folks, and a few people that wanted to watch it live but missed it. They might come back the next day and watch it, and after that, you don't really get a whole lot of views on this stuff. So what do the numbers mean?
Of 6061, etc.
It's just a grade of aluminum.
Classification.
3003 and 5052 are the softer aluminum that you would use if you were going to make an aluminum I don't know, an aluminum enclosure where you're going to either punch it out on a turret press or you're going to laser it, and then you're going to put it in a press brake and form it up. The 6061 is, and on up, 60, 60, 63, 70, 75. There's a bunch of different grades. Those are more for machining. And when I mean machining, that's the same as cutting with a router, where it's going to be a flat part, you know, like a gear or a knob or, you know, whatever. And that will make you cut it. If you try to cut that other stuff like 3003, it just gums all up in your bit. Can't throw it off, and it gums all up, and it's a mess. It is a mess. But yeah, 6061 or 6063 are good aluminum for machining. Anything else? Rich, I hope that answered your question about the aluminum numbers. I will say this too about 5052. You know, I said you can form 5052, but a lot of times, even that, when you're forming it at a press brake, it'll crack. So there was an old trick fabricators used to do is, if you have, does anybody know what a time saver is? It's like one of those great big old belts. You know, they have them where you can run doors and stuff through them for wood, but they also, in a metal shop, they'll have them. But another trick you can do to try to keep that 5052 from splitting is, if your part's not that big, run it through that time saver, but run it at an angle so that you put that grain on it at a kind of a 45 or so, or 30 degree. Well, you know, as long as you can get it at a little bit of an angle, and then you can usually form it and it won't crack. Okay. Any other questions? I see it. That's what she said in the.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what.
I don't know what the other part. Super Bowl, go Pats! Oh man, I tell you what, tomorrow's the Super Bowl, and I'm not much of an NFL fan these days anyway because of all the flag stuff.
Yeah,
but man, it's got to be one of the crummiest Super Bowl ever. Eagles and the Pats. I mean, come on. I wish there was a way they could both lose. But I can tell you what'll happen. And you Pats fans will hate me, but I can tell you right now what'll happen. Patriots will win. Either, what's his name? That big tight end guy, what is his name?
Gradinsky or
something, whatever his name. I can't even say it. Or Tom Brady. Probably Tom Brady will get the MVP.
Yep.
And there'll be some kind of a controversy. You can bet on it. Because,
yeah.
But, you know, I'm not even going to get it. Like I said, I may not even watch the darn thing. I may just come out here in the shop, fiddle around.
Gronkowski, there it is.
Gronkowski, that's it. Thank you, Brian. Blacksmith.
Yeah, I'll probably I want to say I'll record it. So I'm a commercial fan, so I'll watch all the commercials. And
that'll probably be the best part.
Oh yeah, for me it's always been. I've been doing that for the last 15 years. The thing is, now with the advent of the internet, I don't even have to watch it. I'll just wait till it's over, and all the commercials will be on YouTube.
Yeah. And of course, the other thing is the halftime shows here lately kind of suck too. So I don't know. I may have it on just for some noise, but I'll probably be doing something.
I'll be on a hangout somewhere.
I may be out here in a hangout with you or something.
Chatting about CNC, that works.
Yeah, Rich McNatt, Steelers 6 rings. Yeah, and it you know, kind of a Terry Bradshaw fan too, because back when he did it and got 4 rings, you didn't have somebody in your helmet telling you what play to do, and you didn't have all these protect the quarterback rules and all that like they do now.
1972 Dolphins. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, but
I was 7 years old, and I remember watching those games with my dad, and there hasn't been a season like that since.
How many Super Bowl rings does Dan Marino have?
I don't know. I don't think.
I mean, the guy was fantastic, but
I don't think he has any. Does he?
Oh, he doesn't.
I don't know. No, he might. Hang on a second.
I don't think he has any. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, I guess...
Yeah, they lost 38-16 in his only Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah,
darn
what
shame.
I mean. And he passed for like a gazillion yards.
He was incredible.
He's just one of those guys that was great during the season, but sucked in the playoffs.
Horrible actor, but a great football player.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, we're winding down. We got about 40-some folks still watching. I appreciate y'all hanging tough for the last hour because we did run a little long, get talking about all this other stuff. But I'll plan on doing the first Saturday of every month where we just do one of these BS sessions, kind of a question and answer thing. And then we'll do guests the other 3 Saturdays. Also, the Saturday of the show, you know, like I said, I'll be going to the wood show, but, you know, when it closes at 6 o'clock, I'll be coming back home. So may even do a show that Saturday, which would be what, the 17th, I believe.
Yes, 17th, correct. Have to dress in green and bring my green cup.
Maybe I'll do kind of a show wrap up. Maybe we can put together a quick video or something of some of the stuff, the goings on that we saw Friday and Saturday. I tell you what, I'm the world's worst though at, you know, I'll spend hours talking to folks and shaking hands and all this stuff, and then I get home and I'm like, I don't think I even took any pictures or any video. So I'm gonna try to do better at that this year.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's I remember I met so many people last year at the show. David Jones and I have become good friends, and I don't remember meeting him at the show, but we met at the show. And it's a blur. It really is.
Well, you know, I mean, I get so overwhelmed sometimes because, you know, like I said, people know what I look like because I'm on YouTube, been on YouTube and all that stuff, 300-some videos. So chances are they've seen something and they know what I look like. And they'll come up and start talking to me and you know, yeah. I have to kind of interrupt them and go, who are you? You know, because if I haven't seen your videos or something, or maybe you don't do videos, I don't have a clue what you look like. But people forget that, and they'll come in and start shaking your hand and talking to you. And if you let them walk off, you'll go, I don't even know who that was. Yeah. So, but I'm going to try to do better. I'll try to have my phone charged up 100% when I walk in the door and try to get some pictures, video to share with some of you folks, especially you guys out on the West Coast that don't get an opportunity to go to one of these shows.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess that's it. I don't see anything else. Any other questions? Appreciate y'all. Thanks again, Ray, for the super chat thing. I appreciate that. I've had that. I enabled that probably, I don't know, 6 months ago. Nobody, I don't know whether they didn't see it or didn't know what it was or what, but nobody ever done anything. And then Hobby kind of kicked it off last week, I think, with a super chat thing. So Okay, so we're going to get out of here. Thanks, guys, so much for hanging with us tonight. Like I said, we're going to have a guest next week. I'll let you know who that's going to be, probably about Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, I already know who it is, but I keep in suspense for another day or two anyway. But that should be a good show, so you'll want to come back next Saturday, and then we'll just do the Q&As on the first Saturday of every month. So thank y'all. Have a good night. Have a great weekend, and behave yourself on the Super Bowl tomorrow.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody.